Hi there, and welcome to Reflections with Rhonda Jones. Panel, please introduce yourself. My co-host first.
Monica Livingston.
Ruthie Wyburn.
And Kimberly Johnson.
All right. We thought we would end the year with how we brought it in and try to encourage everyone. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, not to sound so, no, it's really not. I was going to make one that said I wouldn't sound so like, I don't know, ghetto or hick or redneck on the show, but that's not my New Year's resolution, so I'm sorry if you are looking forward to that. But today we are going to talk about New Year's resolutions. We're going to talk about some of the customs that go on across the globe concerning New Year's, some of our ladies' New Year's resolutions, if in fact they've made any, what they're going to do different. And then we're also going to talk about, what we would have changed this year if we could have changed anything. And not necessarily personal, but it can be, or it can be just anything that happened on the earth. Okay, but first we're going to throw it over to Monica and let her go first with something which I think is a fantastic idea.
Well, I had been shown this by my other mother-in-law, Kit White, and she sent me a little link, and it had this cute little jar, and it's called different things: a blessing jar, memory jar, and I decided to be a little different. They say you can use a plain jar, you can paint the lid, you can leave it how it is, or you can decorate it up as fancy or as unfancy as you want it to be. I titled mine Memories, and then I put the year.
So obviously you didn't want it very fancy.
No, I didn't want it very fancy. It's kind of plain Jane. You could glue whatever you wanted here. You could have it as bright as my shirt if you wanted it to. But anyways, just a little jar, and it is meant to open and use, so you want to clean it good and make sure it doesn't smell like pesto.
Yeah, that was bad.
But anyways, a little jar, and the idea is that you keep paper by it, and throughout the year, whenever something good or something bad, something memorable happens, you write it down. Anybody in your family can write it down, or it could be just, the adults, or just, you. And you put it in there, and you do it for the whole year. You start January 1st, and so you put it somewhere in your house where you'll see it and you'll remember to do it. And then the idea is that come New Year's, you take the jar, you dump out the memories, and you read through them. And you kind of count your blessings, basically, of what has happened, good or bad, throughout the year. Because even in times of trouble and times that, aren't a blessing at that point in time, a lot of times we learn and we grow from it. So it's a memory jar, and I brought one for each of you ladies today, and I'm going to kind of let you pick which one you want. So I'm going to set them out here.
Oh, you made one
you
for
want to hold one?
Okay. I was.
And then
Very
we won't
nice.
fight over them on the air or anything. We'll let y'all do that after the fact.
fight over it
Y'all can
later.
fight over it in the back. We have a blue one. kind of an Americana one.
Nice.
And then I have one more. So you can pick which one you want and take one home with you today and start your memories off January 1st.
Okay, I'll take that one.
This one?
I'd like to have the blue one,
That's
please.
got dragonflies on it.
All right, Mammy.
I guess I get
a purple, or you can have the
I get the
Americana
ugly
one.
one.
Okay.
You want the Americana one?
I'll take the ugly one. I'm a sucker for the underdog.
Why is it ugly?
Well, I don't think it's ugly, so.
Well, why didn't you
Thank
pick it?
Well, here, I'll
Because you were holding it. Blue matches my living room, and that's where I'd have to have it to
remember to use it. No?
Yes.
It's not ugly. You know what they say? It's the thought that counts. Obviously, not a lot of thought went into this one, but this is probably your first one. No, it wasn't? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
But it was sweet of you to make one for each of us.
I'll obviously be taking hers home and embellishing it.
I can probably get some kind of the thing you still have, that what's they call that, the bejeweler or bedazzler.
I don't have one of those.
It looks like it.
I'll get you a thing of stickers, so you can put a whole bunch of stickers on there.
Thank
See,
you,
now,
Ruthie.
now the truth comes out. I got the shirt so I could be ragged about it on here.
Well, that is not one of my New Year's resolutions. I will still make fun of my daughter-in-law on the show. It's just been a blessing to have her in many ways. I can't say enough good things about her, and she's a good sport too. And so we move on. So now let me get this straight. Not only blessings go in here, but even bad things, like a bad memory.
Just happenings, blessings, memories of things that have happened throughout the year, whether good or bad, is what I read. It's really your choice what you put in the jar.
Okay.
All
But
right.
something that you think of as bad today, you might not by the end of the year think of it as being bad because you learned and grew from it. So it's still a blessing, although it didn't seem like it at the time.
Very true. To me, what would be awesome too is to have two jars. One that would be the memories that weren't as, let's call them good as the other memories, and we have the jars. But then we take this memory that was in a bad memory jar and see how many we can move over to a good memory or a good outcome, and then you can see just by measuring, being scientific at the end of the year, that it wasn't as bad as it looked like at the time. And I think that's one of the things I want to, stress to people today is as you're going through something, it always seems as worse as it can possibly get, as you're going through it. But if we would just stop and think for a minute, this is probably as bad as it's going to get, but it's not as good as it's going to get. It's going to be so much better on the other side of this trial or tribulation or, even a death that occurs in the family, as horrible it is to be without someone during this time of year, or any time of the year. There are always things that you can look at and say, I enjoyed this about them. I have a great memory about this. I mean, most people do have these things that we can turn, your frown upside down, and it takes time, and it really does. Really does. And so if you're going through something this time of year, and a lot of people are very depressed at this time of year. I shared this on another show that my husband and I, we did with Bob Graves, and I read an article about a woman who at this time of the year was her most depressive time of year, and she liked to hole up in a motel. So, she went to Las Vegas and just would stay for 2 or 3 days just in the room. But then she married a man that his whole family loved Christmas. And so instead of carrying that with her, that depression, she said, I need to at least try. And she did. And so she went from her family, which their Christmas greetings amounted to nothing more than like emails, hey, Merry Christmas, that's it. To this family, they went whole hog, if you will. And she decided, I'm going to participate, and it may be something that I can do. So when everybody got there, and whether you drink or not or believe in it or not is superfluous, but this was her job. She said, I can make everybody a drink. Whoever comes in, what do you want to drink? And she kept herself busy. And I find that when we keep ourselves busy helping other people, a lot of that depression kind of dwindles. I wouldn't say all of it, because there are chemical imbalances. There are things that sometimes you just cannot get over, in a quick amount of time. And she played with the kids, took them outside, just different little things. So that's something that we can look forward to, knowing that there is a way out. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I don't want anyone to be out there today and be so depressed that you have no hope, because there is always a glimmer of hope.
Right.
And do you know anybody that gets depressed, Ruthie, at this time of year?
No, I don't think so. If I do, I haven't run across them. But
Yeah.
most people, this is a good time of year for them. And I know people that their families are far away and they can't get together. Sometimes they would be. But you can always find a family wherever you are. You don't have to have just your family. You can find a family regardless of where you are. So,
Right. True. Kimberly?
I don't. Sometimes my mom will get depressed this time of the year, but she's just like the lady in your story. She finds that if she occupies herself with being there for other people, and that's true any time of the year. Anytime you're occupying your mind with others rather than yourself, you're going to
Right.
tend to not be so
Right.
so depressed.
I think that's it, is when the focus isn't so much on you and you are looking more outward instead of inward, you have the ability to kind of come out of yourself in a way and not be drowning in your problems and your, issues, and you can see what's going on around you. And I'm not saying that everybody who's depressed is, selfish and thinking only about me.
Sure.
Right, sure.
But, it's human nature that if we sit there and we have problems going on, we can get into this space in our heads, and in our hearts where we're just, sinking into what could lead to, a big depression, But getting involved in, doing something with, family or for a neighbor or whatever it may be, when that focus is off of you some,
Yeah.
it helps. It really does.
Right, absolutely. Well, let's go around and let's talk about how we spend New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I'm gonna start with Ruthie. What's your MO for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day?
Eat my evening meal, eat my snack, go to bed, and sleep through. When I lived in Idaho, we always went square dancing on New Year's Eve, and they'd have the last dance and a countdown, and then everybody get ready and go home before the bars closed, and everybody was out. So we got home before the
Yeah.
bigger people did, but it was fun. It was something, and they always did some funny stuff during the square dance, so that was fun. But now I just enjoy it by myself, So
Do you ever watch the big ball in Times Square come down?
if it came down at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, I could. But if it comes down at 12, no, I'm already asleep.
No, thank you. Huh? All right, Kimberly, what's your family tradition?
We don't really have any for New Year's Eve. If we happen to be awake, then I get a kiss at midnight, or give a kiss at midnight. And then New Year's Day, we eat black-eyed peas.
Yeah,
because
I eat black-eyed peas,
allegedly,
too.
the more you eat, the more fortune you have. That hasn't proven to be true, or just not eating enough of them.
Now, do you put the dime in there? Because my family's always done. You put the
I've
dime
heard
in
of
the
that,
black
but I
eyed
don't
peas.
want to eat. I don't want to.
And the person who
do you know
well, you
how
wash it first.
scrub
you
it
know how
really
many
good.
germs
Scrub
from
it
money?
Yes, I do. I worked at a bank.
I'm not. I don't know if that's what it takes. We're just going to be poor because I'm not putting money in my food.
My mother-in-law wrapped the dime in foil.
Oh,
and-
okay. I'll give it a try this
Oh.
year. We'll come back next year.
That's what she did.
Well,
I don't
that's
put a
fine.
dime in mine because,
I mean, you're the only person going to get something anyway.
oh no, I've got a
You
bowl
sure?
full to take over to Dee's, so she'll have black-eyed peas.
Aw.
And if I
for
don't
New
make them,
Year's
my
Eve.
dad normally calls me and he's like, "Come on over and get your black eyed peas." So
Yeah, in the South or in the United States, that is one of the traditions. You make black-eyed peas and you put a dime in it. Whoever gets the dime, this is all superstitious.
Well, I eat
Well,
black-eyed
sure, but
peas
it's-
all year long. so-
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well, I'll drop
check
a
'em out.
dime in it this year, and we'll
Yeah.
recap next year as to whether it made any kind of a difference.
Mama?
well, our traditions have it's not really tradition. It kind of varies year to year. Most years we're up probably at midnight. We tend to be more homebodies instead of going out and participating. Like here locally, they have the Pelican Drop, and which is pretty neat. Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. They have it kind of cut off earlier for the kids. They drop the ball, I think, at 8 or 8:30, and they have a bubble stomp and stuff like that. So I thought that'd be pretty neat. Haven't done it yet. Who knows what this year will hold? But typically we're at the house. We just kind of hang out, and the kids are usually asleep before then. And sometimes we'll watch a movie or watch the festivities on TV. The Rockin' New Year's Eve with Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, where they do the
God rest his
ball
soul.
drop. Yeah.
Won't be the same.
I remember watching that for years and years and years with my mom, And one year we had a party on New Year's Eve, and we went around the apartment complex we lived in and banked pots and pans.
Oh my goodness.
I was a teenager then. It was fun.
Well,
I'm sure my neighbors didn't think so, but
no.
most of their kids were at my house, so.
Well, speaking of New Year's traditions, you've done a little research about other countries. Do you need your little?
Yeah, I probably should have my notes.
There you go.
Yeah, as I was thinking about the New Year's and this show being the closest one we'll have to New Year's Day, I started thinking about what some of the other, countries do for New Year's. And some of the interesting ones are the Netherlands, and we'll have to ask our resident Netherlands friend, Dennis, if the Dutch burn bonfires of Christmas trees on the street and then launch fireworks. And the fire is meant to purge the old and welcome the new. Cool. So I have to ask him if that goes on there. In places like England, and I forget the other country because I didn't write it down on here, they have what's called the first footing. And that's where the first person, and they do this really, people come to your home after midnight. And now, I don't know how well this would go over in your house. I don't think it'd go over well in mine. But it's supposed to be really good luck if a tall, dark, and handsome stranger is the first person to enter your door bearing a gift, like a food or something. I don't think that'd go over well in my house. What about you?
No. Well, my husband would have to leave the house and then come back in and with the suntan.
Right.
And,
so anyways, but it is. They go around to the homes and take something to each other, and it's called first footing.
that's interesting.
Gosh.
Well, while you're looking through that, I remember as a kid, you would call people up on New Year's. I don't know if y'all did that, but when it struck midnight, you would start calling people, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. And the first person that called you, would be the lucky person or whatever. That was some sort of strange ritual.
Yeah.
Off of Gulf Beach Highway.
My mother-in-law didn't necessarily call, but on New Year's Day, if someone called, they answered it with Happy New Year. So they'd be the first one to say Happy New Year.
Oh, okay. So it's probably similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was one, and I'm trying to find the country, but basically they save broken dishes throughout the year. And New Year's Day, like after the stroke of midnight, they go around and they put all the broken pieces of dishes on the person's front doorstep.
And what person?
Like just
person that broke
a friend. A friend.
Oh, what person?
And it said that whoever has like the most broken pieces of dishes on their front steps has the most friends, and it's like a friendly thing, and they do it. I'm trying to look it up because that was.
That sounds a little lame to me.
I'd be afraid someone cut their foot coming out the door.
Well, if they're expecting it,
Well, that's true.
I mean, I'd be afraid to wake up and then we wouldn't have any.
Yeah, but
we'd
you
have like
could-
that brown bag of
But
dog
you,
poop.
you could do a lot with those broken pieces. You could make tabletops out of them, like a tabletop like this. You could make little dishes by gluing them together and stuff,
True.
and so
Little
you could
coasters,
use them.
Trivets. Very good. Well, Ruthie would probably get a lot of broken dishes at her home.
Probably. We're all thinking what she could use.
Yeah, I buy plastic now instead of glass.
Spain, the Spanish ritual for New Year's Eve is to eat 12 grapes at midnight. The tradition is meant to secure 12 happy months in the coming year.
Nice. Very nice.
So, and I think it's Japan. Oh, yes. Japan's New Year is the most important holiday in Japan. It is a symbol of renewal. In December, various forget the year parties are held. They're held to bid farewell to the problems and the concerns of the past year and prepare for a new beginning. And the Buddhist temples strike gongs 108 times in an effort to expel 108 types of human weaknesses. New Year's Day itself is a day of joy, and no work is done. The children receive small gifts with money inside, and they send New Year's cards. That's a very popular tradition, and the Japanese post office guarantees that if they're brought in by a certain date, they'll be delivered on January 1st.
Very nice. I mean, they really go big in Japan with that. But it sounds like the part I don't understand is the Buddhist monks and these gong banging, 108 human weaknesses. I mean, like, how many years have they been banging that gong? I mean, how many human weakness? And it just obviously has not worked.
I don't know. It may have been really worse if they hadn't done it. Maybe they're holding it back.
Could be, could be.
Well, they didn't say sins, they said weaknesses. That means that you can't lift as heavy a load as she can, so
Oh, okay.
that's your weakness.
That kind of weakness.
Well, it's a matter
Well,
of
it
interpretation.
depends.
It's
Yeah.
a matter of interpretation. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. In Virginia, normally what they do where I come from in Virginia is they have, well, New Year's Eve. All the grown men, they all go to bars and carry on, and the next day, all the women make the big meal. And they have almost a huge meal, just like Christmas or Thanksgiving, and so it's always laid out for the woman in
I
Virginia.
was going to say, that doesn't sound much different than here.
No, I was going to say.
Well, my mother had a saying, and I don't know if this is something to do with traditions in Tennessee or not, but she said, if you have work to do on New Year's Day and you do the work, you will have work to do all year long. You won't have to worry about not having work to do. So it had something to do with farm work, I guess, because she came from farm people. But so they worked their farm on New Year's Day to make sure they had work to do all year long.
Wow.
No,
I've also heard. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's probably the same thing. Whatever you do New Year's Day,
Yes.
you'll be doing the rest of the year.
Well, I heard New Year's Eve, and so.
I've always heard New Year's Day.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
I've heard
I always
New
heard
Year's
on New
Day.
Year's Eve, when it strikes midnight, whatever you're doing, that's what you're apt to do, so you can.
Well, if it's New Year's Day, I'll be putting away all my Christmas stuff all year long, because that's what I use New Year's Day for, get down all my Christmas stuff.
That's another thing.
away.
How long? We know Ruthie takes hers down January 1st. What about everybody else? Kimberly?
31st, I don't like Christmas up at New Year.
Nice,
That's
nice.
just
I'm
me.
digging that.
Oh,
Mo.
that's just
Well,
me.
because of the superstition that whatever you're doing New Year's Day is what you'll be doing all year long, I figure I won't be taking down Christmas decorations all year long. So if I do that, I'm safe. So a lot of times it does fall New Year's Day. Sometimes it's later, but
Well, I tell you a great memory that I had with my dad. My mom, she would just decorate to the hilt when we were kids and then teenagers and, young adults or whatever. And so she would have stuff just stuck everywhere, every type of Christmas decoration, tinsel, everything. So Dad and I would be the ones normally to take it down, and my siblings. So we would have a contest. Like, we would take it all down, and then the person that could find, something that somebody missed, they would win the accolades of, finding it. And I got wise later on in my life, and I would hide something like a Christmas magnet or something, and then we'd all be finished, and then I would just like plop it on the side of the refrigerator, and I was like, "Oops, Pop, missed this." So if you find something that you overlook, then I don't know. That's stupid, but it was fun, real fun.
Stupid.
Anywho, Mo.
well, I was just going to say that in Finland, the New Year's tradition is that they tell the fortune of what the year is going to bring. And how they do that is they melt tin or lead in a pan, and then they quickly throw it in a bucket of cold water. And whatever shape it takes determines, like, the, fortune of the new year. The shadows of the shapes are analyzed with predictions for the fortune. And here it doesn't say what the different shapes, but I think
don't have
heart
any
means
tin.
marriage. There's certain ones that mean death, certain ones that mean, good luck or fortune.
We have a viewer comment, and this person says, Miss Ruth always has a creative mind.
Yes, she does.
So, are they dipping in the sauce early? Or, no, it's Melissa. I was giving her a hard time for sauce and a dip. All right, girl. Well, Miss Ruth thanks you. And she does have a creative mind.
Yes.
And she does put it to use. That's the good news. Okay, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go around the little panel here and say one New Year's, you don't have to call it a resolution if that word offends you or bothers you, but say something that you're going to do differently in the coming year, if you've thought about it. Something that you're going to try to do differently. Anybody want to go first? Kimberly.
I'm going to try to be more disciplined with my time. I do homeschool, and we start off with a schedule.
Sure.
It kind of breaks apart, but I think that our family life would be a little more smoother if we stuck to a schedule. And so
Well,
I'm gonna try.
You have that
Not
great
too strict.
temptation in front of you now.
My Kindle.
The
yes.
Kindle. That's going to be twice as hard, but I know you can do it.
Well, hopefully, my husband hopes I can do it.
Well, I'm sure you can. Okay, so you're going to be a better time manager.
Yes, that's
Okay,
the plan.
and say it positively, like Ruthie
I
would say.
will
I'm going
be
to
a
try
better
to
time
say, no,
manager."
I am going to be a better time manager.
This time next year, I will be a better time manager.
Okay, and we have this, kept for posterity, so we'll
All right.
bring it back, folks, and we will bring this back next year. All right, Ruthie.
I want to be more encouraging to people close to me and to people that I write letters to and stuff. Like my one niece, Becca, I'd like to do a lot more to encourage her more often. I don't send her notes often enough, and I want to do that this next year.
Wow. I tell you what, if any of you have ever received one of Ruthie's cards, I can't imagine her being any
Yeah.
more encouraging and
gonna-
uplifting. But if that's what you want to do and you can do it, then that will benefit the whole. So, well, thank you. That's great. Momo.
Well, I'm going to change it up a bit because in past years I've said, oh, I'm going to try and lose weight, and, that's not worked so well. It's kind of been an up and a down battle. So I think this year, more than focusing on losing the weight, hopefully this will just be a side effect from that. It's to do things that are healthier for me, healthier eating, more activity, and we'll see where it goes.
I like that. So,
And by the way, losing weight is one of the number one New Year's resolutions that everybody makes every year, according to the statistics that I was looking at last night.
I wonder why. I wonder, is it because you get to prolong it until after all these, fattening holidays?
Well, I think that has
and then
something
you
to do with
start-
it, is that most people do at the holidays, they kind of get a little lax, and they, even if they're really good eaters most of the year, good, at exercising over the holidays, they kind of, the hustle and bustle of everything and spending time with family, they let it go a little bit. And so at New Year's, the focus is back on,
Okay, yeah, well, Ruthie said that she was going to help. She is going to help Monica and myself and whomever. And so, but you cannot be like the soup Nazi. I don't know if you saw the episode on Seinfeld. The guy goes up to the counter and he was like, the soup Nazi is the guy behind the counter in New York, and he gives you just the soup you asked for. But if you ask for, like, can I have an extra piece of bread, he gets, off the chart. He was like, no soup for you. You get out of here.
No, I won't be that way. I'll do like I do this other
Encourage.
person. Are you sure you need all of that you've got on your plate?
I like that style.
Yeah, that's
I
what we
like
should
that.
do is next week we should come in here and show the size of the plate we were eating off of and the size of the plate we're going to eat off of. And I think that if we decrease it by at least 50%, we'll be good.
Well,
I'll furnish the plates that we eat off of, and you can't go back for seconds.
Ooh.
Okay, sign
that
me
good?
up.
okay. Yes.
I'm in.
Yes.
All right.
Tough love is good. I think, some tough love is what's needed. And so, yes, you're not the soup Nazi. And she said she was going to encourage more this year, too. So
Okay.
I'm looking for some positive reinforcement from her. Okay. Well, part of mine is to lose some of this tonnage, but also, I think that my hands will be full with that. It'll encompass my every waking moment. No, it won't. It really won't. Sort of like Ruthie, I want to be able to tell people things that I may not be able to tell them right now, and I'm pretty bold, but I want to go one more step.
What do y'all think? She pretty bold?
And get a little bit bolder. So, and gosh, I could use, better time management and a lot of other things. I'm just a work in progress.
Yeah.
What's that song? Sing it, Mo. Possibility? I'm a possibility.
I don't know the song.
Okay, sorry.
I don't think I know the song.
Okay. Now, ladies, what is one thing, if you had it all to do over again this year, you would do differently? Can anyone think of anything right off the bat? Any do-overs for anybody this year? Something
There's
that you
so
just
many.
said, I really sort of messed it up and I want to do over.
Yeah, I have some issues with a problem with my foot, and so it started off the end of last year. It was bothering me, and put off going to the doctor, trying to deal with it on my own, and it's taken a lot longer for it to kind of get under back in check than it should have, and in doing that, I kind of let any exercising and type stuff go. And Kimberly can attest, we used to walk the kids to and from the bus
we were
stop,
doing
and that was
good.
really good, and then we kind of let that slide. And so if I had to do over, I think I would have found a way to get to the doctor with it and got it taken care of so that I didn't let that slide, because I miss doing that. For one, it was a nice time to, just, do it, get it out of the way. It was a time that we were already doing something else. Now, of course, it would have had to change up with the new school we're going to this year, but
True.
still could have found a way to fit some in there. So,
Okay, that's nice. Anyone else? Ruthie, any do-overs?
The way I interact with my one sister and her family, I'd like to get that on a better footing.
Okay. So you would do things a little bit differently than you did this year, so
Right,
that
right.
could be also part of another thing you want to do more positively coming up. Okay, very nice. Kimberly.
I had recently heard a song, and the lyrics kind of stuck with me. That one line says, "I want to be a human being, not a human doing," and it stuck with me. I'd like to, there's things you have to do when you're a mom, but you can't let dishes and be your focus to where you're not being a mom or a wife. And
True.
I feel like sometimes I let the things I have to do get in the way of being there, being a person that's available to my family, to my friends, and
that's a
so
good
I'd like
point.
to be a human being, not a human.
Yeah. Okay. Me, I think it would probably have to do with probably my husband. I would have done things differently. I would have probably encouraged him more as far as certain projects, and tried to allow for his needs. Like, for instance, sometimes he can see things that I can't, and vice versa. But sometimes I think I can see it all, but just to listen better. And if he thinks, this is going to take away from something, and I don't really want to participate, but I say participate, he's very good about participating. But, listen to him, kind of listen. And probably 5 or 10% of those times, I was probably wrong. The other 90, 95, I was around the button. But I'm giving more benefit of the doubt when it comes to things like that.
I'd definitely like to be more organized this year. I keep saying that I'm going to get the house organized and things like that. And I think I'm going to really strive to put that into play and not wait until the new year to get started. So,
Well, I've tried to do better concerning, I know y'all laugh after what I ate for lunch today, but we all eat together on Sundays because it helps with the show and everybody working. And but for the last couple of weeks, I've just, I didn't get seconds on anything. And so that's a good start. I think if you start out with your volume, right away you're going to lose weight because your body's so used to 2 plates. If you just go down to 1, eat what you want, then you can just go from there. And so volume, definitely. And where am I going with this? It doesn't matter.
know.
It doesn't matter. It's just that I'm going to do better. The do-over. I won't eat as much.
Every day, in every way, I'm going to be better and better and better.
So say that one more time, closer to the microphone.
Every day, in every way, I'm going to be better and better and better.
Right. And we all have room for improvement. And everyone does. And one thing I do want to do differently this year, if I see something in someone, if they're wasting a talent or wasting a gift that God gave them, I want to be bold enough to step up to them and say, look, I see something in you. And especially young people and children, look, you have this gift and you have this special talent. And, let me try to help you. I'm going to foster that with you and help you out. Life is really in the words that we say to each other, because we can make or break a child and they will remember something all the days of their life. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can remember things that somebody has said to me positively when I was a child or negatively. And I remember both of them. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, the negative stuff will just creep in there and push down the positive stuff. And so we actually have power in our words. And this year I'm going to be more bold to go to a person and say, this is where I believe you should go. Now, some people will say, you're encroaching, or how do you know? But you can tell. I mean, I haven't lived on this earth 50-something years to not know. I mean, I think I'm getting, what'd you call it, gray hair?
Oh, I saw it on Facebook today. It said, these are not gray hairs. They are wisdom highlights. And I just happen to be extremely full of wisdom.
So these are wisdom highlights. Ruthie?
I got lots of them.
She has a wisdom color job.
Well, I'm not getting old. Just my hair is getting old.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Well, I'm not getting old either. My hair is getting old, and my face is getting old. My feet are getting old. But my heart is still young. And I think if we have that young heart, it's infectious. We can help kids. Our children are facing so many pitfalls. And if we don't step out there and be bold and say, Christian, I see something in you and I want to help you become whatever. We have to invest in our children. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds trite, and everybody says it in government, but they're just not investing in our children.
Yeah.
If we could take one child and just raise them up, to be something, one person can make a difference. They really can. And so if we all took one child, there you go. Got a crew member trying to show us something. We have a viewer comment. The viewer says, I'm going to get a wisdom.
Can't say it.
It's funny. I can picture myself just laughing. Okay. I don't know why I can't read this. Hold on 1 second. This viewer said, and I don't know why it's so funny, I'm going to get a wisdom. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm going to get, can you read it?
Maybe.
You can. I don't
Just
know why I
pass it
can't.
around. If,
Where's it even there?
At the bottom, crazy.
I'm going to get a wisdom weave.
Isn't that funny? I don't know why I could. I'm going to get a wisdom weave. Do you know what a weave is, Ruthie? Okay, Mo, tell her.
a lot of, different ethnic groups actually weave in hair because their hair has a hard time growing, or it's thinner, or for whatever reason, and they weave in artificial hair, or
they
sometimes
weave
it's real
hair.
hair.
I
You know what that
need
is?
to do that.
No, you don't need to do that.
It would be
people
the
do
same
it.
color.
Young people do it. And you know what? A lot of
We call it implants,
okay.
and they call it weave. Okay, same basic thing.
same thing.
Oh,
But
okay.
a lot of women on TV, for instance, I think all the women on the show called The Talk, which I don't watch anymore because they got rid of Leah Remini and Holly Robinson Pete. Anyway,
More of a view gal.
anywho, but anyway, they all, like one day they all just took out, they had clips of it, just, this isn't really a real weave, but they just stuck it in there. It makes your hair look fuller and longer.
Longer, yeah.
I mean, everybody on TV wears it. If you think one of them has short hair one day, then the next day you see her with long hair. But some people actually weave pieces in. Like if you go down the road, especially on Patton Drive here in town, you'll see weaves in the middle of the road. I don't know what happened. If they got in a fight.
Cat fight.
But
So then
it
maybe
comes
I
up.
don't want one.
So you don't want one. I
No.
don't think. You don't need one, and you don't want one. But a wisdom weave, that's really cool. I like that. I don't know why I thought it was funny. I guess because I've seen so many
Pieces of weave laying on the street.
pieces of weave laying in the street. I think that's why.
Anyways.
All right. So this year, I hope I will not get a weave. But I have thought about this, dogging gray hair coming or my wisdom highlights. Then I think, just briefly, I say, well, there is the woman that has had chemo and has no hair.
Right.
I say that, and then I say, okay, it's all right. But then the next time, I'm like, oh, this is my hair. And then, I don't really learn a good lesson about it. And so I just want to
It's
be...
that in the moment that it seems
Right.
so
It's-
awful.
yeah.
You're dealing with it, you're fooling with it, and it's bothering you.
Yeah.
But later you can look back and think, oh, this person has no hair because of chemo, or,
Yeah.
a disease like alopecia or something, you
Yeah.
know. You
Yeah.
just never know.
Well, all a gray hair means is just you've lived one more day. That's all it means. It doesn't mean you're getting old. It means you have lived one more day.
That's one way to look at it. And
Yeah.
we're going to look at it, I'm going to look at it more positively. But I will say this, just from my naked eye, everybody on the stage has a few grays.
What's she talking about?
And no,
Just kidding.
I admire that. That's good.
No,
That's
I've got
good.
them. I tell you, the first gray hair that anybody noticed I had, I probably had them before then. My sister was sitting in the living room, and I guess she was doing something with my hair. I can't even remember what she was doing. Maybe she was trying to put it up for me. We were going outside with the youth or something, and she went to hollering and screaming, and school-age kids in school, and I lived with my sister, and she had 2 school-age kids in school. This is well before I got married. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she's
lice.
seen lice.
Again.
No, she found a gray hair, and she was hooping and hollering because she is 3.5 years younger than me, and she thought that was so funny. She raised a stink. Oh, I tell you. If YouTube and all that would have been popular then, that have went viral. She was off the charts.
I do want to mention I call it a Christmas miracle. The Saturday before Christmas, I received, I didn't tell everybody this, but our car was broken into on December 18th. And we always lock the door, and we found out that our clicker is not really operating correctly. So, and we have security cameras and everything, and my husband went out to go pick up his mother, and we didn't go anywhere all day. We sat in the house and worked and wrote and whatever. So at 6 o'clock at night, he goes out there and he's like, come here. And so I go out there and everything's strode everywhere, just everywhere. And one of the dumbest questions I've ever heard him ask, and trust me, I've heard him ask some crazy ones. Do you know anything about this? I was like, no. I think we've been robbed. I said, well, probably. And for whatever reason, I always keep my purse in the car. I have no use for it in the house. I mean, I don't need it. And it was gone. And our son that's in the Army, God, if he ever sees this, I'll be in trouble. But I keep a set of his checks because I do business for him. And it was in my purse, and just obviously things you keep in your purse. And so, I was so mad and upset because it's a violation. I took it personally.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and picks up his mom, and I'm like, I'm calling the law. I'm going to look at our security cameras. And so I go back to when it could have been, and right away I see it happen. And when you watch it happen, it's horrible. It's just horrible. And it was 3 people. Watched it happen, just nonchalant. They didn't care. Anyway, I got delivered over that feeling. But so I thought, my goodness, I have to go through the whole rigmarole about the driver's license.
All the stuff you have to replace.
Oh my goodness. And nowadays in Florida, it's really hard to get a driver's license. And I'm thankful until it's my turn to go get one. So I research it, and you have to just go through the whole shebang. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to fool with that right now. And Saturday, actually I checked the mail Sunday, and somebody sent my wallet part, not my purse, but the part that had my ID and everything in it, in the mail. No return address, no nothing. And as soon as I pulled it out of the mailbox, my finger pressed down on it, and I could feel the little cord. It was an expensive little wallet that I bought many years ago. And I said, that's my wallet. But I didn't know exactly what would be in it. And there it was. And I didn't have to replace anything. I don't have my purse, but and our son's checks, when they were rifling through it, they dropped out. And so they were
Oh, wow.
found in the car later, under stuff. And, as aggravated as I was in the moment, something positive came from it. And, I was upset with the 3 people that did it. But then I said in my mind, should I be so upset only about me? Or should I be upset that if they continue this, then their crimes will escalate, and it won't be just breaking in a car, it'll be a home or this or that. But most people that do this, they just go look for cars that are unopened, and it's just a crime of opportunity and convenience. So needless to say, that was our Christmas miracle. And so I was thankful for that. So this year, I'm going to be more safety conscious as far as if I get a purse, I won't keep it in the car,
Oh, my husband gets on me if he, goes outside and he happens to notice I have my purse or something that resembles a purse or a bag that would have anything in it. He's all the time saying, don't leave that in the car. You never know when someone's going to come along, see it, and they'll bust your window out for it,
Yeah, and
iPhone.
should be thankful that they didn't bust our windows. That would have been a huge expense,
Yeah.
And so this year, just, like Ruthie said, be more encouraging, be more positive, try to manage your time better, be healthier. Just these are some suggestions that we're going to do, and we want you to come along for our journey because we're going to keep you updated. Not as if you really care, but we're still going to update you. You'll see, hopefully, that we'll be looking a little gaunt in a month or so.
Maybe in a month or so it might take longer for me.
Won't be in a month, but
We're not about trying to have a supermodel figure. We just want to be healthy for our family. And, I have overindulged last part of this year, and I'm going to reverse the curse. And so parting comments, Kimberly?
good luck, everybody.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you. That's appropriate. Ruthie?
Always think positive. Get rid of all negative words in your vocabulary.
Oh, you're trying to steal all the fans. I'm sure they'll just write in and say,
How awesome it is.
I can't
Dorothy's-
do this. You don't say that.
right.
Well,
I
I've
can't
always
remember.
heard,
You
I
don't
can't
say
means
that.
I won't.
It says, I don't recall it at this moment. You don't say, I can't.
Good words of admonition. Mo?
I'm gonna go along with like the memory jar theme. Just kind of count the things in your life that go on, that you're able to go and have them, each day. And with Rhonda's idea that you look at the end of the year and maybe the ones that you put on there that are negative, you can make 2 piles and then see which ones you can move into the pot. Think about the outcome of it and
Yeah.
focus on
Yeah.
the positive.
Right. Let's look for the silver lining. And so that's what we're going to do here at the New Covenant Group. We invite you to do the same. We invite you to step forward. Don't go backwards. It's a new year. 2013 is full of so many great possibilities, and it's full of so many opportunities to help other people. And that's our goal this year, to give out more information to people, to give out more encouragement, to give out more love than we've ever given out before, and we're just going to try to double it up, and so we hope you do too. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's.